intervention, not more government intervention.
Well, the reason I asked the question is right now, when you look at a big company like Smithfield come in, I seen them come in 20 years ago. And I've looked at the small company become part of that monopoly, where they control everything. You hear all complain about the price of fees, the price of everything, because now of that monopoly at the top, that they can't be ready. I'm trying to figure out how can you regulate things that doesn't.
Well, the fact of the matter is, we live in a very competitive environment, very competitive world. We live in a global economy. Economies of scale rule the day because everybody is trying to create the very best product for the lowest possible price, and market forces have dictated that to some extent. But I would say to you that you wouldn't have near as much of that if you didn't have as much regulation as we have in place, because that has expedited that process dramatically.
What is your view on Medicare versus your phone?
Well, thank you for the question. Number one, there is no proposal on the table anywhere that takes one dime from any senior citizen. Not one proposal on the table anywhere that takes one dime from anybody who is currently a senior citizen. And the one proposal that I'm aware of that is on the table, known as the Paul Ryan Plan, it doesn't take one dime from anybody who is currently 55 years of age or older. It does make modifications to the program for those who are younger, my generation and so forth. And quite honestly, Medicare goes bankrupt in 12 years. Let me say one other thing. There's a big difference between taking money out of the program and making modifications to the program to drive costs down. To help fund the national health care law, they took $716 billion out of Medicare and put it over to help fund the national health care law. Now that is a little taking. And they say, oh no, we didn't touch beneficiaries. No, they touched the providers. But guess what? How many of you know of people who cannot find a doctor who's willing to take Medicare? Or Medicaid for that matter. There are a lot of them. And the reason why they're not taking those patients is because the Medicare reimbursement rate is so little you can't even keep the lights on.
You're exactly right, because I got in with a new doctor, and I got in with a time, so she told me, she said, we are not taking new patients, new Medicare patients.
Yeah, and the reason why yeah. So, yes, they are hurting the beneficiaries when they take $716 billion out of it to help pay for the national health care law, because you're going to have fewer providers who are willing to offer Medicare. Well, if you don't have anybody that you can go to see, I'd say that's a pretty poor system. We need to make modifications and begin to drive health care costs down. The way you do that is you create more transparency and you create more competition. The doctor's office is the only place you go where there's no price list. I don't know if you've ever thought about that. Nobody knows what anything costs. Even the doctors don't know what an MRI costs in one hospital versus another hospital. And that needs to change if we're going to start to get costs under control in health care.
Any other? Al?
Yes, I've been told from time that I'm a little hard to understand. Did I understand what you were saying is that you think that the states should have more control and take away from the federal government? And if so, I want to ask this question. Many times that the states have made discriminatory laws, rules, that the government had to come in. Is that purpose of that to try to stop that way states can do certain discriminatory things and the government can't have anything to say, or what is the purpose of that?
Well, nobody should be discriminated against at any time, at any point in time. I do think that it would probably serve everybody better if the states had more control and the local entities had more control. Because guess what? Those who are local, they know what the real needs are. They know how to best administer, funds to take care of the particular needs of that community. How many of you have tried to call a bureaucrat in Washington? You can't find them. At least at the local level, you know what church they go to. You know where you're going to find them. You know what restaurant they like to eat at. You run into them in the grocery store. a federal bureaucrat who's controlling everything, good luck trying to find when you have an issue. And so from that perspective, I think more local control is much better. Now, discrimination is an issue that should not be, and there are plenty of laws on the books to prevent discrimination at the local level and the state level.
Anything else? All right.
Well, that's what, with the Medicare, and the only, what I'm asking is, I hear you explain that alternative to the present, what is this now? But in actuality, I'm trying to figure out what does it look like? What is it going to look like when you put this model before? Do y'all have an idea of what that model is going to look like? Because when you say it's turn things back over to the state, the thing that I see now, when states regulate certain things, like our school system, certain states can compete with other states because those regulations have been turned over to some states. Like right now, the education system is 47 in the country because we're not financially able to compete with the rest of it. I'm trying to figure out how we keep first-hand people with everybody with a health insurance problem. When you got some vast economic burden, one state doesn't have money like New York and Georgia, the big cities. How do you keep that to be first-hand? I don't understand. That's my problem.
Well, let me put it to you this way. When the government controls everything and the government does you wrong, you have nowhere to turn. At least in a free market, if somebody does you wrong, you can always go to their competitor. So that's just a fundamental point.
Are you saying that the government should not be involved in healthcare?
No. I get the sense some of you are mixing apples with oranges. Medicare and Social Security are commitments that the federal government has made and the federal government should keep. Medicare goes bankrupt in 12 years. We need to have an honest conversation about what the problems are in this country and lay forward solutions and have an honest dialogue with the American people to figure out how we want to move forward to fix those problems, what solutions we agree to that will solve those problems. That's what I believe.
So what are your proposals? What are your proposals to solve that?
Well, number one, I've not been in Congress, so I don't know completely what all the problems are that exist. But I'm going to tell you this. I'm going to come back and I'm going to tell you what all the problems are, and we're going to have a discussion about the solutions so that we can chart a course forward that benefits everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.